Will policy changes help women attain leadership positions in more demanding careers, such as science?
I think at the level of the government and society, it's widely recognised that women are underrepresented in society in many different leading roles. And so I think there is an enormous amount of work, an enormous amount of attention that's paid to that. So I think in the boardroom, in all leadership positions in companies, in science, it's a generic problem. We have to look at it generically. And I think part of the role of the chief scientific advisor will be just in clear communications.
Why do you think women remain underrepresented in scientific leadership positions?
Part of it is generational. That at the time I trained in science, and of course many of the leaders are of my generation, there simply were more men from the moment people went into their degrees all the way through. I think we're actually seeing a gradual but too slow evolution in that, where now if you look at our PhD programs, 50% of the entrants are now women, and I think we're beginning to see that coming up the career structure. The other issue, of course, is that people do make career choices. We've recently done a survey of people, and even 3 years after completing their PhD, the fraction of women remaining in research is significantly lower than the fraction of men, and we're currently doing research to try and actually find out what the explanations are. But of course that's not necessarily a bad thing in itself. One shouldn't make value judgments. We need to understand why people are making choices.
What actions could the Wellcome Trust take to encourage women in science and ensure gender equality?
We're taking this very seriously, and I think, again, the key has got to be to get it across that we are very flexible in the way we can support people. And so we're perfectly able to support people who have career breaks. We've had for many years our re-entry fellowships. We're capable of supporting people who want to work part-time, who do want to have breaks. So I think it's all about flexibility, but it's not only about having the schemes there, it's about really communicating the fact that they are there. And recently we've strengthened our web pages. Kay Davis and I have written articles about this, and it's a communication message, and it's a communication message that it's important that the scientists we support help to spread.
What opportunities will there be for you in your new role as the government's scientific advisor to help improve the position of women scientists across all levels?
There are two different types of issue in terms of the gender balance of scientists at different stages of their careers. We can only, as it were, make awards to the people that apply to us, and so the ratio of women applying to the Wellcome Trust at different levels of science, as it gets more senior, the ratio does drop. And that means that actually, assuming that we're awarding roughly equal percentages, that percentage will change. So that isn't a bias in itself. I think more worrying is the fact that in some of our schemes, it looks as though men at interview have a slightly higher chance with certain applications than women. And I think that's a more serious issue. And I think we need to keep a very careful eye on that. It's not a big effect, but I think it's just one we need to keep an eye on.
What makes a good scientific leader?
Well, I think the first thing is that a leader's got to have a very clear strategic vision. But not only that, in some ways it's easy to have the vision. The question is, how do you get there? So you need to have a clear way of leading people, leading an organisation in the direction that you want it to go. And it's a question about building teams, having good relationships, mentoring people, recognising that actually no single individual has all the skills to achieve almost anything, be it a scientific project at one end, leadership of an institution at another end, a whole variety of skills.
It was very interesting to hear Mark Walport's thoughts on gender biases in science. It was also very interesting to see that the data that the Wellcome Trust has been collecting clearly show that there is a bias in gender representation with increasing seniority in the career. I think that we don't understand these biases yet, but I think that the Wellcome Trust is taking these issues seriously, and that key to the improvement of the situation is to provide more career flexibility, which is already being done. So overall, I think that the outlook is good.